You're listening to Beauty, Strength, and Dominance, the official podcast of Lingerie Fighting Championships. And now, here's your host, Michael Larkin.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another edition of Beauty, Strength, and Dominance, the official LFC Lingerie Fighting Championships podcast. My name is Mike Larkin, and joining me today is content creator, adult star, badass, and dare I say, wonderful and amazing spirit that is Miss Channy Crossfire. How are you, Channy?
Good. I'm staying blessed, staying sane. Yeah, staying passionate, positively passionate.
Absolutely. Staying positively proactive and staying on your grind. I love it. I love it. I
Yeah,
love it. I love
yeah.
it. Now, Channy, you've been doing a lot of great things, and we're going to hop right here into it, folks, because if you remember last time we had Channy on talking about the Goddess Among Us contest with LFC, and now she has gone on to do a lot of great, amazing things, not just in the world as a whole, but what she's doing as far as the Urban X Awards, the Female Performer of the Year. I got to tell you, first and foremost, I've been voting. Y'all need to get on that vote and submit your vote. I love it, man. Congrats.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's my first nomination for that award show. So I'm excited, especially being in this rabbit hole for about 5 years now. Um, I'm happy that my work is it's kind of paying off. But it's not just that. I remember I didn't take any of the award shows or the nominations seriously my first couple years. But now I feel more comfortable in the industry. I'm like, yeah, let's get it. I know what I could do. Yeah.
I like your passion about that because I look at it like this. I think we've mentioned this many a times, but it bears repeating, my friend, is that life being the art form that it is, and you have the chance to paint your canvas even with these award shows because it shows your strength, it shows your growth, it shows your adaptation, and dare I say your individuality that goes into your work and your discipline that goes into it. So, I mean, it's another layer and another level, so to speak, where we get to see at the award show. Not only do we see the elegance, the sexiness, and dare I say the decorum, but damn it, man, it equates to the Grammys. It equates to the Emmys, so to speak. So you have that prestige just to add to one of your many accolades.
Exactly. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, representation still matters. And this is a unique award show of its kind because everyone is a person of color in regards to AVN, where it's mostly majority Caucasian and white people, right? It's like kind of whitewashed. But for Urban X, you have to be more in solidarity with people of color. And for a female performer of the year, I'm on the lineup with two, three other Asians, and they have a bigger name than me. They've been in the industry longer than me. But what I bring to the table is that I'm a big advocate for mental health, and I I still want to show people that not everyone in this industry are superficial and shallow. And you already know what I've been up to as well with my activism and my community volunteering, and yeah, and also because I also train martial arts. And as far as I know, I'm the only one on that lineup that does MMA. So if you're a fan of that, and and wrestling, and yeah, and being an athlete, so again, representation matters. So
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely. When you look at the Urban X Awards, and I mean, I always equate it like this. When you look at adult content, it's much like there's something for everybody. I think with the better diversity and individuality and
Exactly.
equality, we're in a day and age, and I say this, I've seen what you've been doing with your activism, your mental health, and everything. You're standing up for what you believe in. And I think that not only goes a long way within your work, but you as a person.
Mhm.
And it's that gravitational pull, because what you're
Right.
doing, like everything, you're evoking emotions, you're eliciting reactions, and you're
Mhm.
getting eyes on you. So that's the main thing. That's the main integral part of what we get to see with you. And it's not just external, but it's internal, man. And that goes a long way.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely a balance because I don't want to get caught up in the cloud. It's more so me trying to focus and maintaining my authenticity, you know? Like there's so many things I could do to become more popular, but I rather lose fans doing more of what I want to do, because that's my authenticity. So I think I will naturally have people that genuinely resonate with me, like you, would naturally gravitate towards me. So I'll find like the right people, Yeah, like my soul tribes in this industry, and people who have similar core values, and interests. Yeah.
I mean, I look at it like this. I've been seeing a lot where you've been posting as far as seniors fight back, which I think is wonderful. Like that's another thing that really stands out. Let's
Mhm.
talk about that for a second here, because seniors fight back. You're helping seniors. You're doing a lot on that front. The generations upon generations upon generations. Talk about it, man. I think that's an amazing cause.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So, origin story with that. A lot of these new grassroots self-defense organizations um, started from quarantine in the pandemic, and with Trump's narrative with scapegoating Asians and people blaming Asians for COVID and for that virus. So when that demographic was being scapegoated, um, a whole new. Sorry, hold on. My birth control alarm just went off. Which again, be responsible. Birth control, reproductive rights, reproductive freedom. Hold on, be right back.
No worries, no worries.
That was a nice um,
Oh my
yeah.
goodness,
So
good.
um, yeah. So a whole new generation of grassroots organizations came to life to help defend mostly the elder demographics, because it started in the East Coast, where people were getting pushed in subways, right, in subway train stations, and you're seeing like the elderly getting burned alive, or these hate crimes and these attacks started rising, right? More hate crimes started rising, especially with the Asian demographics. Um, yeah, so in the East Coast, it originally started with They Can't Burn Us All. And there's shout out to Dragon Combat Club, also in New York. And so Seniors Fight Back is in the West Coast. And we help, it's usually, yeah, the older demographics. Um, learn, mostly teach them about situational awareness, right? Not be on their phones too much. But this same advice and these same tips goes for any age. When you're walking out in the street in public, to not be too distracted on your phone all the time. Situational awareness, looking around you every now and then, and it's just a lot of these attacks are preventable, and that's the least you can do, is try to help people to not be desensitized, and not have that fear of just being a bystander. Um, but it's mostly learning to not be scared, because when I hold pads and just teach anyone in general self-defense and learning how to guard and protect themselves. Um, I really like seeing their eyes light up when they learn to throw their first elbow and when they learn to throw their first knee. When that clicks with them and their eyes light up, that gives me feedback like, oh wow, this is why I like doing what I do. This is why I keep coming back. You know, and when anyone gets a taste of that empowerment, we plant that positive seed, and it's really up to them to kind of nurture it and grow from there. And we keep it real with them. Realistically, things won't go as planned, and you will panic, right?
Mhm.
And you might forget all your training, but the main thing is to stay resilient. Find the next thing you can do. Keep finding a way to get out of that situation to survive. That's the main thing. The main thing is to teach them to not just sit there and freeze up the whole time, or at least not for too long. So yeah, it's things like that. And also, again, to keep it more real, I lost the rest of my grandparents these last few years, um, on both sides of my family. So whenever I come out to Seniors Fight Back to help volunteer and hold pads for them, I always think of my grandparents. So in a way, it's me paying it forward, you know. And I remember the first couple of years helping out with that organization, I would low key feel like I want to cry inside because I would see people that remind me of my grandparents. And but again, it's that full circle moment. It's paying it forward. It's I know they're proud of me, and I'm happy to be able to help teach someone else's grandparents while they're still here. You know, so yeah, it's very wholesome. It's very wholesome for sure.
I
Yeah.
got to say, as someone who's also close with his grandparents, God rest their souls and God rest your soul, you're definitely doing them proud. I look at it like this, man. It's one of those things where if you can help with the situational surroundings and everything, from being more off the phones and being more aware and alert, and you're teaching discipline. One of the great things about it is it doesn't matter of any age. But I look at it now in today's generation of the youth that's growing up. If you can steer them in this direction, steer them away from guns and fighting and everything, but also being disciplined and being able to take care of yourselves, that is mind, body, and soul. That's foundation. That's everything. That is the connection with one's mind, body, and spirit. And that is the greatest gift of all right in there.
Heck yeah. It's a start. It's a foundation. And there's so many possibilities. It'll still open up doors, right? But it's really being open to that in the first place will open up more doors for you. Hell yeah.
Well, I got to say, it's always about being the best representation of your presentation. And speaking of the presentation over here, if y'all want to see some badassery, we'll put that into the forefront here. Lady Street Fighter, man. I have seen the stuff that you did with Barbie. I checked out the YouTube channel. This one's got the belt. This one's fight. This one's no. The promos were great. The promos were great.
I technically don't have the belt.
Right.
That's for promo and
Yes.
for promo pictures. Yeah. Yes. So the next fight is this Sunday, and it's actually not going to be live this time because our main camera woman has to leave for emergency.
Mhm.
But we will post the content up on YouTube. So either way, just go on YouTube, Lady Street Fighter, and please subscribe. The next one will be live. Yeah, but the last one was live for sure. Yeah.
Gotta say, I dug it. I think this type of content, and like we mentioned with any type of combat, I look at it like this, man. It highlights women. We'd much to mention the empowerment side of things, but I think it's another great outlet for people to really consume and gravitate towards, because we always talk about there's something for everybody. But if there's something that's unique, kind of has an underground feel, like you mentioned, the rawness, the authenticity to it,
Yeah.
it's like equated to like this. Look at 99. We had Brad Pitt and Edward Norton Fight Club, but we can actually talk about Lady Street Fighter. We couldn't talk about Fight Club. We can talk about Lady Street Fighter.
It's a geek out, yeah.
Yes, it has that great authenticity to it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Now, I will say this. Let's talk about even how you even got involved with this, because I was checking out their YouTube stuff as well and checking out the fight. Definitely something that you all should definitely check out, my dear friends. But how did that really come into fruition with you, man? Because you've been killing it. Like we mentioned, the promos and the promo work, everything works well.
Yeah, it's alignment. You know, finding certain opportunities and certain gigs, and finding finding the right people that share similar hobbies. So I actually honestly found them on Craigslist, and yeah, I'm glad to be on their roster. So I'm definitely gonna have a good amount of matches lined up, you know, because I'm willing to go through anyone. It's all practice for me. It's all practice for me, and but it's so funny because a couple of my gym friends or teammates from my gym was able to watch the last fight, and they were wondering why I was holding back, because they know I could go like harder, better, like I could go faster. They seen me at the gym. They know how hard I can go. They seen that beast side of me at the gym, but I was holding back with this last fight because the other female is fairly new, and I have a bit more training experience, but I guess I'm still a little too nice. But yeah, either way, it's practice. So I just gotta. Everything's back to the drawing board, and I'm excited. Like I know it's a passion when it's not, when I don't find it discouraging. You know, like if the old me used to have more pride and more ego, so the old me would have been mad that I supposedly lost, or the fans voted for the other person, right? Um, but again, it's kind of relative because they're only seeing certain angles. They're only judging me off of that like one match. They haven't seen me at the gym and like how I actually train there. But it just goes back to okay, never leave it to the judges, never leave it to the fans, and we just gotta set up better camera angles next time. So there's that. But either way, it's all to me. It's all practice. It's all fun. It's all game. So, and it's gonna be more exposure either way. So there's that too. Yeah.
I think it's a thing of, well, it's precision because it could be from editing, it could be camera angles, it could be fighting.
Yeah.
I look at it from you with this, like I've seen a lot of the gym folks, the gym photos, you just training and going in there on the grind. I think what I love about it too, as well, is even, I mean, you giggle in there and we're loving it, but that's the beautiful part of you, Channy, because the character development of you could be very too nice, but you can kick ass at the same time. That is something that only we mentioned gravitate goes to, but it also is something that a lot of people can relate to because it's like that old Patrick Swayze, God rest his soul. It's that old quote from Roadhouse. It's be nice until it's time not to be nice. So there's that kind of element that really goes into it, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. That part, yeah. It's definitely I think it's because I wasn't mad. You know I could turn it up more if I'm genuinely mad at that person, of course, but I wasn't mad. Everything with that match, I was calm. It still felt right, and I still felt fresh after, you know. But I could tell I really made the other person upset, and so I could tell I was able to push her and really get her out of her comfort zone, you know. Um, but I'm not sure what's going on. It could be her schedule because I want a rematch. I want a rematch. But I don't know if it's her schedule or maybe she knows it might be different the next time. um, but yeah, I have so much love and respect for anyone who is even open to step into that and do that in the first place. You know, that just puts them, like putting themselves out there in the first place. You know. Yeah.
It's one of those things too where we look at it from a day and age where I'll put in the bluntest of terms, where it was very poo-poo and frowned upon, so to speak, from what we got to see back in the day to see where women are now, much like yourself. And I definitely include you and all the women that do check out this fine podcast. It's one of those things where it's people going out of their comfort zone. It's people showcasing, hey, I can be sexy, I can be tough, I can be this, I can be that, because there's something for everyone. There's love that goes into it. So you're going through every emotion, dare I say, from top to bottom, up, down, all around, side to side. And it's something that's the thrill factor. You get the adrenaline going, and that really does showcase. And you constantly continue to grow and gradually adapt. That's what we need. We need a united, not divided front. And we also need a front where we can have that platform. And it's definitely been shown throughout these many of years. And it's great to see it at its highest amplified.
Hell yeah. It's at the end of the day, with my life experience so far, it doesn't really matter who wins or loses, because it's all going to be a learning lesson. You know, it's always going to be experience. And the bigger picture really is just having another platform to show positive femininity and good sportsmanship or good sportswomanship, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's what I try to emphasize and focus and bring to the table as well. You know, like let's not forget that. You know, that's the main, just showing that we still have heart. You know, yeah.
That's the main thing about it, man. Is you're putting your heart and soul into everything. And I've always said this: that's the greatest thing about life. Like, you never know, because you have to look at it as this. Even from the moment that you wake up to the moment that you close your eyes, it's another day, it's another blessing. You have to look at it as a blessing, because there are some things in life that, you know, would go by in a blink, but you're creating moments and memories, and then you're creating more moments and memories yet to be created. It's the mindset. It's how you view it through these beautiful things right here called the lenses that are your eyes. And if your eyes are set and your eyes are on the prize, and if your eyes are just well aware and all around and open, you really have the exemplary action to go out and do what you want to do.
Oh yeah, it's gonna create more positive memories. Have you ever heard of the show Glow, Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling?
Oh my goodness, yes, I have.
Yeah, so you know, they've had episodes, or were you able to watch the reunion part where they like years later got together?
Yes, where Hollywood and
That
everyone.
moment, yeah, it's that moment that I live for. Like, hey, years from now, do you remember when we used to just come out and scrap? Yeah, just being able to have more moments like that, that's so wholesome, and that's something that's very heartfelt. That we all still followed our heart. We all did something that's unconventional, that's out of the matrix, that's not considered a normal job for a person or a normal job for a female, you know. But we could all look back and have like moments of tears and joy and being there for one another, have that understanding and acceptance that we enjoy doing some like that specific thing, and just having more laughs about it. It makes life worth living, and it feels like life is more fulfilling, you know.
Oh,
So
agreed. And look at
yeah.
if you look at it from the 80s side of things, see, this one's taking it back to everybody from Glow in the 80s and everything. I like your style. I look at it like this. You go from the 80s where Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling was the integral part from Hollywood and Vine, from everybody that was on that roster. And they had the pleasure of training with Mondo Guerrero, the legendary Guerrero family, of course, Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah.
So you have the tie-ins with wrestling, but you also have the tie-ins of these women were actresses. They tried out for something that a lot of people were like, "What the hell is this Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling?" Because the
Mhm.
WWF at the time was doing Cyndi Lauper and Wendy Richter as a part of the Rock and Wrestling
Oh
connection.
my gosh,
So
yeah.
you have the celebrity vibes, and you have these women coming out of the woodwork, so to speak. But they paved the way for what women wanted to do. I mean,
Exactly.
even nowadays,
Exactly.
look at the Bella twins, because if you weren't a professional wrestling fan, but if you watch Total Bellas or Total Divas, women were like, "Hey, man, I want to be like the Bellas." So it comes from all your surroundings and everything.
Exactly. It goes back to representation matters. We won't know a path is possible unless we see someone else trailblazing that, right? Or opening doors for everyone else to be able to do that. Like, do you remember uh, um, there has been an interview where Dana used to say that women will never join the UFC.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah, this is when Strikeforce became the first women's um, transformed into the first women's division, right?
Mhm.
That was the bantamweight division with Misha Tate, I believe. That was the first women's division in UFC, and that was from Strikeforce. And yeah, so he also was convinced that that wasn't possible, but now it is. So yeah, anything as long as we're out here putting in the work, and making ourselves be seen, then that's definitely possible. It's the same thing with activism. The more we show that there's all these mass protests happening around the country and around the world, it's such a morale boost to see that we're not alone in our struggles. We're not being gaslighted by the government. It's not, we're not going crazy. you know,
At all.
yeah.
And I'm going to comment on the protest because I definitely wanted to bring that up because your
Mm.
activism is an amazing story, and I have to go on to the other part that you just mentioned here because Dana White. Here's the thing: I always equate it to this, and you can kind of actually mix the wrestling side of things. When Dana White said that, it reminds me of when Vince McMahon wouldn't let CM Punk do stuff with UFC by like sponsorships to get rid of
Oh,
UFC.
wasn't he the first crossover?
Yeah, well, one of the first, like back even
Okay.
before that was like Ken Shamrock in like the late '90s and
Oh, okay, yeah.
and Brock Lesnar and Punk.
Yeah, Brock Lesnar, yeah.
But the thing too is you have Vince is like, oh God, look at that. That's see the UFC over there. I can't have you do that. But it's like, okay, well, women are going to be doing UFC, and it's going to be the coolest thing in the world. And Vince
Mhm.
didn't see that vision of what Dana White and what that later come with what we would see with the Rondas, the Misha.
Yeah, yeah.
The problem is we even have nowadays with WWE and how Evolution was booked. This last pay-per-view like killed it. Like these women, absolutely, this all women's pay-per-view, 7
Mhm.
quality matches, 7 quality stories. And it's like if you actually let women go out there, and we've seen it upon years and years and years, it's gonna be sweet. And you're also inspiring younger girls, whether they go over to like they did the stuff with Saudi Arabia and more representation over there that they're getting now. Things
Mhm.
change, things adapt, but it's the world seeing it. You know what I'm saying? You want the masses to see it. World changes, man.
Oh, I love that. Yes, that collective. There's definitely a collective shift happening right now, a collective momentum happening right now, and it feels great to feel like we're still being a part of that history, And I I've been a part of 6, 7 protests and marches and rallies, and the George Floyd one was actually the biggest one I've ever been a part of. And in the daytime, it's a lot of different generations, and it's very peaceful. It's more healing, we all took a knee, and had a moment of silence. But in the evening, it's people with more heartache, more pain, and more anger. Those are the ones that came out, to riot, and to take things out, and um, I don't support that, but I could understand it, Um, so that was actually the first and last time I got shot with a rubber bullet too. So if I didn't earn my stripes being an activist, um, but I surprisingly haven't been to any of these. Oh my gosh, there has been nonstop protests and marches since January, and I actually surprisingly haven't been to any of them because I've not only just been busy with work and traveling, but I feel like not that I think I might have grown out of it because I did that in my 20s, in my late 20s, or throughout my 20s for sure. But it feels good to know that there's a whole new generation, not that they're taking over, but they're evolving and they're taking the initiative, But I feel like now I've naturally grown into that person to try to help guide them through that process. Like, hey, I'm the intel now in the background. Like, hey, here's all the resources and information to be safe out there. The advice. When you go out there, be level headed. Don't get caught up in like throwing stuff. Keep people in check. Go with people that will have your back, that you trust. Just be smarter about it. Don't just go because. Don't just do it because of the hype. Don't just do it because your other friends are doing it. It has to feel right to you. Don't just do it because it's trending. By the way, it's going to be a learning experience for everyone. And this is me kind of feeling like I'm getting old or getting older. Um, we're going to keep having these like collective shifts and all these protests and rallies, for each generation. You know, I think it's such a reality check for us collectively as a whole. Like every few years, every 10 years, to make sure whether we as a society or a civilization is evolving and progressing in a good way, you know.
No, I'm right there with you. I look at it from a stance like this. I think the way I've always viewed it is you have to exist to inspire. That's the best thing you can be as a person. You
Ooh,
exist
okay.
to
You're
inspire.
out here rhyming and dropping some
It's
good
something.
deep
It's
stuff.
it's the surroundings, absolutely. And I think for me, it's just you have to look at it from a perspective. It's just like you mentioned about getting older. You have to
Mhm.
have that impressionable. It's like in high school, right? Like you're the senior, you're the 12th grade, and you have freshmen coming in. You have to be impressionable
It's
because
exactly that, because they are giving off that extra young energy, that freshman energy. Yeah, where they have that extra enthusiasm and excitement, but they just need to kind of learn how to discipline it and have better guidance with it. Yeah, that's exactly what that is.
right, but that's the thing too. In protests, I mean, I'm with you about like the rioting and stuff. I understand it. I don't encourage it, but I understand how they're feeling because again, it's in today's day and age, especially with what's going on now with the current administration. I
Mhm.
think you're going to see, like you mentioned, a swift. There's going to be a slow swift of, and you see it with any Instagram or Twitter post, anything on the social media front. It's like,
Right.
well, this isn't what I voted for, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I look at it like that, but I'm like, but you voted for it the first time, the second time, like,
You
but
know,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Wait, what was I going with that? Um, whew. Yeah, that is kind of a lot to unpack with that. It's oh, what were we saying with that?
Oh, we were
Um,
just saying it's like it's pretty much, folks, and I put it with this current administration. This is just everything going on. How social media has been kind of the needs for everything.
oh yeah, I remember now. Yeah, so mainstream media
Yeah,
will mostly depict the darker side of protesting and activism because they want you to think it's a bad thing. It's stigmatized,
yep.
right? But they're not going to show the more peaceful protests where there's actually community healing. People are actually coming in to honor and pay respects, you know. So there's that where you got to learn how to critically think and distinguish media and like cross-reference that, like what kind of narrative they're painting, what kind of angle, what's out of context, you know. Um, yes.
No, you absolutely nailed that. I mean, I also look at it from TV shows and pop culture. Like, more days, like a lot of the plots that you see on television shows are more social media arranged. And I'm like, can we go back to the days? And I'll even put it like this: like we talk about protests or like even sit-ins. Rosa Parks, one of the most influential people ever. Like,
Mhm.
kind of showcased it. There was an episode of The Famous Jet Jackson back on Disney. For those who remember from the late '90s, early 2000s, it
Oh.
was they couldn't read Fahrenheit not 451
Oh
because
wow. Yeah.
of the book's subject matter. And it's like, is it really like that? Like, we can't read a book, like, you know what I'm saying? And that's the thing
Mhm.
with all these banned books, but they're focusing on stuff like that because they're taking a stand at what that book represents. A lot of
Exactly. Yes.
like, To Kill a Mockingbird, you can. Here's the thing: you try to erase history, but To Kill a Mockingbird, from its film adaptation in the '60s, from its book in itself, like that stuff, unfortunately, does happen with
Mhm.
Caucasians and African Americans. But it's a
Mhm.
story where it shows unity because the son is sticking up for the black man. The black man did nothing wrong, and it
Mhm.
equates history and equates people being wrongly accused. So you have plot lines and guidelines there.
Exactly. So it's like the Hunger Games, right? That's the new generation version of that. And it goes back full circle. These are all parallels. There's a reason why they don't want us there's a reason why they're banning books again, because they don't want people to critically think. You know, they don't want people to think for themselves. They want more sheep, you know, they want more soldiers, yes or no soldiers, you know. But yes, these are all big parallels. And um, yes, once you start tracing things from like previous centuries, like all this has happened before, you know. Um, but yeah, we definitely have that privilege in this country, for sure. Yeah, it's wild.
No, you said it perfectly as far as the critically thinking part, because you need to. Y'all need to have, you know, it is, we're so easily influenced by things, but, and I think I say this for myself, and I'm sure you could say it for yourself and people
Mhm.
that watch this program. It's thinking for yourself and just going with what your gut is and your values and sticking to it. You know what I'm saying? Being open to things is wonderful. Questioning things is wonderful. But if you stay on the narrow and right track and really do your own research and do your own thinking and having one's own mind, it goes to many things, disparaging what people may say over here, people may say over there. It's a perfect part of being who you are. And we mentioned authenticity. It all comes back together. It's a full circle moment, really.
Yeah, hell yeah. I had to have a heart-to-heart talk with a few of my relatives because on both sides of my family, we're all scattered on the political spectrum.
Right.
But what I'm able to appreciate is that even if we don't agree on some things, we're still able to have conversations without being really emotional, without being aggressive, you know, because there are families out there that will get aggressive and then you will be estranged, you know, and ostracized, you know. And I'm glad that it's never gotten that bad in our family. You know, we still have some level of respect, you know. But yes, so hold on, I digress. What were we talking about just now?
Oh no, you were fine. It was pretty much civil discourse within your families. Instead of fighting, you remain civil within your
Oh
conversation.
yeah, yeah, there you go. So I had to have a heart-to-heart talk with them, like, hey, and I made similar posts on this too on Twitter, like, hey, no matter what side you're on the political spectrum, you know, as long as you keep your people in check, you know, because um, I've touched base on this with a lot of different people in the industry too, who are on different a different part of the political spectrum. Um, you know, I think there are a lot of people out there who still want to feel like they belong and still want to feel accepted, um, even if they know that their peer is wrong. You know, like that's their trade-off. They would rather feel like they belong somewhere and be accepted somewhere, even if that group is toxic. You know, even if that their peer group is wrong. you know. So I try to teach people, hey, don't ever feel pressure to do something you don't want to do, you know. Um, Keep following your intuition and your gut. If something doesn't feel right, don't do it, you know. So it's really trying to teach that, um, that they don't really teach us in schools, you know, and certain family dynamics and relationship dynamics. But yeah, the key is to learn to trust your intuition, and if it doesn't feel right, don't do it, you know. So that's the main thing.
Beautifully and eloquently said. It's the what I like to call the LOA, as this one over here, Miss Channy Crossfire, so eloquently put it. It's the level of acceptance, folks. It's the peer pressure of it. Will even equate it to high school. It's like you want to be accepted by the jocks because they're the cool kids. They wear the jacket, they get the cheerleaders.
Mhm.
But it's like you start hanging with them, and then you start dissing your real friends, and then it's like, hold on, wait a minute now. These people are only here with you because you're accepting to what they're into and how they want to help their lifestyle. But the
Yeah,
that's been with you since day one, your ride or die, so to speak. Your distance.
exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's where it gets tricky and that's where it gets twisted. Like, I could admire and respect a sense of loyalty,
Yeah.
but when it gets toxic, you know, when you know people in your group are bullying people, why would you still want to be associated with that or be friends with people that are bullies?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I'm right there with you. That's the thing. We mentioned United not divided from before, but it's just like we're in such a day and age where this is right here. You have the keyboard, you have everything with your fingers, but the problem is you can bully with words. But then also when that person is in front of them, it's kind of like that they have nothing to say because that's our day and age now. I could say whatever I want, damn it. I can type what I want, I can say what I want, but when I'm in front of a person, that goes out the window because we're so of the discourse of technology
Mhm.
is running our lives. Social media is the end all be all. And this is where we're at in today's day and age.
There you go. So then it goes back to how we're still, most of us or some of us are still spoiled in that sense, and we don't have that, or they don't have that type of life experience, you know, to associate that with. So that's why there's that disconnection. That's where they're out of touch, you know, not having that life experience. And also, again, representation matters. So they might not have that friend to tell them otherwise. They might not have that friend um, to to help be a voice of reason or speak against the status quo, you know. So yeah, it just goes back to like who in your friend group um, that's willing to not just keep you in check, but to just keep it real with you and have these hard conversations. Yeah.
Right. It's like people, and I'll even say with what we're doing here, because this one being a prospect and being a fan of the Great Lingerie Fighting Championships product and being just a fan of MMA and wrestling and female empowerment, I look at it like this, folks, even with the adult entertainment industry. Like, it may not be your cup of tea, but god damn it, man. There's a lot of people that feel empowered, showcasing their sexiness with lingerie, showcasing their thing within the adult entertainment industry and their content creation. There's something for everybody, but if you're going to bully people and degrade them, I'm going to tell you something right now. There's much worse shit going on in the world, and this is what you're putting your energy and your overall passion into something that is so bad, when in actuality it's making a lot of money for people. It's business. It's a business. Everything in life is a business. You may not see it as a business, but it is, because this is how people make a living. This is how people get their income. But also at the same time too, it's something that is normalized nowadays. What was once taboo, we're normalizing stuff like this, which is fine because it's what it is.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's holy crap. Yeah, things are definitely, people are evolving, you know, becoming more liberal. Uh, but yeah, there's so many layers to this. There are, you know, everything has roots. You know, people only judge when they scratch the surface, and they only see the superficial layer to things. But again, it goes back to critically thinking and becoming more enlightened and woke. Uh, it's learning that it's all tied to living wage, and how and it's all tied to living wage and classism, and like, for example, the adult industry might be the only industry where the females actually get paid more than their male counterparts.
Right.
Whereas almost every other industry, the males get paid more. So if that isn't telling of, could you blame females for capitalizing on that? Like, if you want to talk money and business and strategy, objectively, that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah, so again, it goes back to classism and living wage. So before I got into the adult industry, I used to be in the food industry for about maybe 6-7 years, give or take, and off. But my last conventional 9-to-5 job was at Subway, and I was there about 4 or 5 years. And I used to work the holidays and overtime, and I used to come home late to family functions late because of work, And after the rest of my grandparents passed away, I was already in the adult industry, and I have a more flexible schedule, being an entrepreneur and being freelance, right? But now that I have more flexibility in my schedule and have more time to take care of my mental health and have more time to be there for my friends and family, like all my grandparents are gone and like all these family functions and holidays are different now. So that's the irony for me. That's why I support that we all should have a living wage, because if we all had a living wage, we all would be there more for our friends and families and be able to take care of our mental health more. So that definitely stuck with me in regards to that.
Agreed wholeheartedly, man. And I mean, first of all, I gotta say, because you mentioned Subway, eat fresh. And I mean, it's like this. No, and here's the thing. A lot of my friends that I went to high school work with at Subway. We had a local Subway by us.
I shit you not. That was actually one of the cleanest intake meals I've ever had for training. Like I would always make my own meals from there. I would feel good going to the gym and work out right after work. And I do miss the ingredients. I do miss all the all the veggies. But I knew I was getting burnt out because there were times where I wanted to fight some rude customers. I wanted to like hop over the counter and fight some rude customers. And I would have to go into the walk-in freezer to literally cool off. So if that isn't telling him about my personality, but also I do what I do. But yeah, that was like, okay, I'm getting burnt out here.
I bet. Like that. Unfortunately, it's like somebody's pissed because your $5 foot long was not cooked the correct way.
Yeah, I understand being hangry.
Yeah, but damn.
But then you realize, oh wow, how much food goes to waste.
Right.
And then how many people are spoiled and privileged. So that's very telling. We're probably the #1 country for food waste, and also the richest country in food. And then it goes back to we could technically have solved world hunger by now. It's just toxic food distribution and politics. Yeah. So, but I used to write things off on the waste log and give them out to homeless people off the clock. So, but I'm glad. Shout out to Subway and all my previous old coworkers. We would all hook one another up, and we definitely had some good times for sure. Yeah.
See, that makes me smile, just the stuff from the waste log, giving them to the homeless. That's awesome. Like, see, that gets me right there. That hits me right here. I love that. I really do. I really, really do.
Yeah, definitely. That's also my personality too. I always find a way to give back somehow. Even if I don't have that much that day, like even just passing a water bottle makes a difference. Giving out $1 makes a difference. Yeah. I used to fantasize about hitting people with stale bread. No, I mean only rude people. Only rude people. It's like, isn't that such a funny visual though?
Yes, that's why I'm laughing.
Imagine with a foot-long stale bread and just whacking someone with it.
Whacking them right in the head, right across the face.
I have so many stories with Subway. You know, people would come in, um, and not and not and they would get mad at us for taking too long because they didn't put any money on their parking meter. You know.
Oh, that's your damn fault. You didn't put money on the parking meters.
Yeah, and it's wild. Like, you didn't factor in this long line. You know, it takes 15 minutes to wait in the line, 15 minutes for food to be done, 15 minutes to eat, and then maybe another 15 minutes to use the restroom, and then your break is over. But yeah, that could definitely be a whole other podcast just talking about Subway and the food industry.
Well, I will say this: we'll definitely save those stories for the next. Absolutely, we'll give you a little appetizer here, but we'll give you a little whole enchilada if you will.
Yeah. I mean, I miss the free coffee, and I do miss the regulars, and oh, it's the tourists. It's the tourists though. Um, the tourists from other countries, they would always be surprised at the portion sizes in this country. Like, wait, that's your small? That's your large? That's very telling. Yeah.
But that's the beautiful thing, man. I think what's great about it too, even hearing about Sub and what you do now, you make the most of your time and you make it most not just entertaining but fun. And I think that's what goes with everything that we do in this thing called life. And I got to put it over here because if y'all have not checked out this one's social media, not just for the fact that she's nominated with the Urban X Awards, not just for the fact that she's Lady Street Fighter over here, but if y'all not checked her out, we mentioned our boy last time, Spartan Women Productions, man. I saw we saw the bout with you and Laura Cross, did some shooting with her. My God, man.
I
Hit it.
So Women of Sparta, he's told me I'm the only one on the on his roster that actually genuinely trains off camera. Yet ironically, I'm the main one being a jobber and submissive. But I was telling people, you know, it's actually easier for me to be a jobber and be submissive, because that's where the acting comes in for me, and I get to go more with the flow, because I'm still trying to learn how to balance turning my dom side on and off, because I can be competitive, and training real life competition, that energy and being technical in that sense, I'm still trying to help. I'm still, because that can translate on camera, and it's kind of hard for me to gauge that. Like, I might potentially be too aggressive with people, which is why I don't even. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I think it's easier for people who haven't come from that background to play into those roles. But for me, I think because, like, but for me, it's kind of hard to break me in on that sense, you know?
Oh, I feel you. I mean, I look at it from a stance like this. Like you mentioned, the jobber role and the enhancement talent role. You'd be surprised, like a lot of wrestlers who have gotten hired from their enhancement talent roles because they did such a great job making the other superstar look well. Like that goes a lot with your facial expressions, the inflection.
Yeah. Still bringing something to the table. Yeah. Still selling it, making it look hot. You know. Yeah.
Yes.
But I think that's the switch side to me comes in. How I could play both sides and play both roles easily, you know. So I'm already comfortable with that. Yeah, it's wild. I rather be I'm actually the more dom side in real life and competing and training. But when it comes to role playing and acting, I'm more on the jobber side, and I play that well too. But again, the old me who used to have more pride and ego would feel some type of way for sure, being the jobber and being more submissive in those scenes, because we've definitely, some of our coworkers in that niche industry, in that fetish kink realm, we've all discussed about how some people wouldn't want to ruin their dom reputation by doing any of those other submissive scenes or jobber scenes, you know. But I think that's where me being a professional switch or me being professional dom um, comes into play. I get to have the best of both worlds, you know. So I'm not too worried about that, you
So
know.
pretty much what you're telling me here, Miss Channy Crossfire, and we're gonna put this out to fruition because she said something that's very imperative here. So pretty much what you're saying is you're like the Hannah Montana when it comes to kingside. You get the best of both worlds.
Hannah Montana. Yeah, the Miley Cyrus. Yeah, definitely. Having the Disney fans and then having the more grown up, adult, mature fans. Yeah, definitely.
But I gotta say that goes within, like we mentioned, the layers and everything. Like I'm gonna tell you right now, for those who've not checked Channy out on camera, not only is we mentioned the sexiness and the hotness, but you can definitely tell you love what you're doing. And I think whatever role you play, it translates. And I think again that gives you the nomination that you are here, and it shows again your work over the years. And I gotta say right now, I honestly cannot be more proud of you, man. I'm happy to call you a friend, and I'm proud of what you're doing, man. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're
Yeah,
very
um, I really like your deep conversations, and I can tell we could also talk for hours too. And I appreciate your insight, and I'm glad there are more people like you in the industry, and that you have a podcast like this. For sure.
Well, I appreciate that wholeheartedly, man. And I will say this before we close this out,
Yeah.
Chad, you are always welcome on this show. We'll have you back on. We'll talk some Subway. We'll talk some LFC. We'll talk about what you got it going on. It's
Right.
all
I'm always working on something. I have so many passion projects to juggle. So I'll be back for sure.
absolutely. Now, yes, ma'am. All right. Now I see it. Promote the shirt. I love it. Looks great, by the way. Really to showcase the activism side. Beautiful. There you go. I love it. Now, before we do close this out, I always love asking this question, especially with the girls as well. With what you've done thus far within your adult entertainment career and content creation, your activism, the mental health, spreading the wonderful message that it is, what advice would you give? And dare I say, what are some of the best takeaways? And what are some things that you're really grateful for with what you've done thus far within your tenure with being an activist, being a tenure in the adult entertainment industry, fighter? What's some of your favorite takeaways, and what have some of the things you've been really grateful for?
Let's see. I I mainly want to say focus on taking care of your mental health, you know, because that'll make when you practice self-care and self-love, that'll make the rest of your passions more sustainable, you know. I Some people would argue that I got into the industry late, in my late 20s, you know, that I'm not in my prime anymore. But I'm glad that I got into the industry being more older and more mature because I have more life experience, you know. Now I'm at that point in that career where I have to have these hard conversations with my male counterparts in the industry about how a lot of the new people in their 20s getting into the industry, they don't have that much life experience. They don't know their do's and don'ts yet. They don't know their boundaries yet. So that's where a lot of the darker side of the industry comes in, you know. Um, so you gotta learn to take care of yourself, and and I'm glad I got out of that toxic party culture. Um, you know, you learn how to protect your energy more, and so I'm glad I was able to get a head start on that, because then I'm able to have these deep conversations that most people um, wouldn't want to have or are afraid to have, you know, in this industry. But we need more conversations like this in the industry, because then that's where we can help heal it from the inside out, you know, because there are still predators out there that give the industry a bad name, and that goes across all industries. Look at P Diddy, for example. Look at FC, for example. There are predators across all industries, right? But the main thing we can do in our friends, family, community circles is have these hard conversations about consent, about do's and don'ts, and about safety protocols. and looking out for one another, you know. Um, so there's so that's something that my agents don't talk to me about, that I've had to learn on my own, and with my personality being a mental health advocate. You know, we got to have these types of safety protocols be more across the board, but it's making its progress. You know, it's we're having more consent coordinators, which is good, even in the mainstream like movie industry, you know. um, but yeah, just keep following your positive passions, you know, and it's gonna like keep nurturing that positive seed, and it's gonna keep growing. You know, I throughout all my travels these last few years in industry, I've had so many deep conversations like this with people, and it makes working with people in this industry, it makes it more wholesome, and you can feel the healing happening and taking place, you know, so that what we're doing is not superficial and shallow. It transforms in a good way, you know, and then we could take that and bring it to other friends and families, um, so we can learn to do things more ethically and do things the right way, you know. So there will be less trauma in our communities and less trauma in our friends and family circles. So that's the emphasis with the mental health part, because that kind of bleeds into everything and ties into everything, you know, especially with everything going on lately politically. It's really important that we keep it real like that, you know.
Absolutely, and you certainly keep it real on all fronts, and that certainly gets you very far, because I think a lot of people, they may not want to hear it, but sometimes we need to hear the harsh realities and the honesties and the overall authenticities. And
Yeah.
in life, you want to accentuate positives. You don't want to surround yourself with toxicity, because positivity is key in every find. Absolutely.
Yeah, not just that, but let's not glamorize things. Let's not put things on a pedestal, you know.
Right.
There's a chance, you know, because it's so stigmatized, there's a chance people will find out what you do. So you have to meditate on whether will you be okay with potentially being ostracized? Will you be okay with potentially being estranged? You know, so you have to learn to live with that. You know, because there are suicide rates all across all industries, especially this industry. And me being an introvert, I have it easy. You know, I don't mind. I value my solitude. But it's really the extroverts in the industry that will have a harder time, because they genuinely thrive off of other people's energy. You know, they genuinely feed off of other people's validation. So those are the ones I think that are struggling more in this industry in regards to like group and social dynamics. So yeah, meditate on um, being on potentially being shamed and people finding out, you know, and relationships changing with people, you know, and whether you're gonna be okay with that in the long run. Uh, so there's that too, that I hope people that are new or considering this industry to not half-ass it and to not do it on a whim, you know. So I'm just glad that so the reason why I also bring that up is because the first couple of years that I was in this industry, I was very secretive about it. Um, but it's only these last few years because I used to keep gym training separate, but now I realized I would have more fans, like more gym fans and more martial arts fans, and it naturally started to be able to like harmonize and like, be integrated, and I'm able to balance that. So then, if um, then again, that authenticity started clicking more. So I hope and wish that for everyone, um, because a lot of a lot of pain comes from inner conflict when people try to keep things too separate, you know. So there's that aspect.
I think it's also a big part of, and to use the spiritual side of things, I think at the end of the day, no matter what we do, I think we're all God's children, and I think God loves us for who we are, and He has made us into who we are. And I think we
And
take,
goddess.
yes, and goddesses, thank you, God and goddesses. really, we're all his children, and I think the best part about it is he provides us with these blessings, and he provides us with these paths. It's up to us to where we want to take those paths and grow and blossom, So with that being said, growing and blossom, goddess, as I put that, goddess, Miss Channy Crossfire, before we close this out, where, my blessed friend, can we follow you on all forms of social media? The floor is yours.
Find me on Linktree/Channy Crossfire or Google me. I'm on Instagram and Twitter. But yes, look up Channy Crossfire. You'll find all my safe for work and not safe for work platforms. You'll find all the nonprofit organizations that I support, advocate for, and a good portion of whatever money I make, I always pay forward, and I try to also help fund these self-defense organizations and nonprofits, and always give back to the community too. So again, full circle, and yeah. So check out Lady Street Fighter this Sunday. Subscribe on YouTube, and please vote for me for Urban X Awards Female Performer of the Year 2025.
Yeah.
Voting ends next month, so I only got a couple of weeks left. Get me on stage, or at least the top 6, but hopefully get me on stage. So I want to give out and I want to be able to give out an inspiring, liberating, and woke speech. So they're ready for that? They're not ready.
Well, I certainly do hope you get up on that stage. I will keep voting, as you all should, and check out Lady Street Fighter on Sunday. The link will be in the description for the YouTube, so y'all can check it out and subscribe. And I will say this, folks, for the spiritually connected and badass Miss Channy Crossfire, my name is Mike Larkin. Check out lfcfights.com for these podcast needs and many great events as far as LFC goes and the Lingerie Fighting Championships product. We hope to see Channy Crossfire in the future, man, because you badass in lingerie doing your thing. It's something that the world needs, man. Let's put it to fruition. The world needs some Channy Crossfire. We appreciate you so much. And as I always say in this fine program, beauty, strength, and dominance, the 3 key elements that make women the work of art that they are. And Channy Crossfire, my dear friend, I include you in those sentiments. Thank you so much for your time.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you too.